All right, let's talk about finance operations. Some of those tasks feel like they've been around forever. But what if that daily grind, all that manual data entry, could just disappear? We're about to look at how AI is making that happen and how it's shifting finance teams from doing really repetitive work to having a real strategic impact. Let's get into it.
Stop keying invoices. Now, if you've ever worked in finance, you know these three words are, well, they're revolutionary. They signal the end of all those hours spent on manual, repetitive, and let's be honest, pretty frustrating work that has just bogged down accounts payable for decades. This isn't just a nice idea, it's the start of a huge shift.
So what does this old way of working really feel like? We call it the finance grind. You know the drill. It's a constant cycle of keying in data, chasing down approvals, and then fixing errors after the fact. This isn't just inefficient. It's a huge drain on the smart, talented people who are stuck in that loop.
At its heart, this isn't really about new software. It's a totally different philosophy. The old way is database-centric. It basically forces people to act like machines, like human keyboards, just feeding data into a system. The new way, it's human-centric. It completely flips that, letting the technology do the machine work so that people can focus on being strategic, on being analysts.
Okay, so what's the hero of our story here? How do we actually make that jump from being database-focused to being human-focused? Well, the answer is this idea of the AI agent. So think of an AI agent as a digital member of your team. And I'm not talking about a simple chatbot or some little automation script. No, this is an autonomous system that can manage an entire business process from start to finish. The whole goal is what we call touchless operations, where normal transactions just flow right through the system without anyone having to lift a finger.
Let's break down how this thing actually works. It operates in 4 really simple but super powerful steps. First, it ingests any document, a PDF, an email, you name it, and it doesn't need any complex setup or templates. Then, bam, it validates it. It's checking for fraud, for duplicates, any compliance issues, all in real time. Next, it codes the transaction, figuring out the right general ledger accounts, and it can even split costs based on what you've done in the past. And finally, it settles it. It either auto-approves the transaction or, if something looks off, it intelligently sends it to the right person to look at.
Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But what does it actually look like day to day? Let's walk through a scenario. Imagine a new supplier invoice shows up first thing in the morning. This is what we call the zero-touch morning. And this timeline just perfectly shows you the raw speed. At 8 a.m., the invoice comes in. By 8:01 a.m., that's 1 minute later, it has been ingested, validated, coded, and is fully approved. A process that used to take hours, maybe even days, is now completely done before you've even had a sip of your morning coffee. It's unbelievable.
When you put the old way and the new way right next to each other, the difference is just staggering. Ingestion goes from over 5 minutes of manual keying to just 30 seconds. Validation, another 5 minutes of staring at a screen, becomes 30 seconds of automatic checks. The accounting part, it's instant. But here's the biggest bottleneck: approval. That goes from waiting maybe an entire day for someone to reply to an email to just done, immediately.
The total impact is right here on this chart. And look, we're not talking about small improvements here. We're talking about taking a process that takes, on average, over an hour and shrinking it down to less than 2 minutes. That is a fundamental, ground-up transformation of how work gets done.
Now, this incredible efficiency isn't just about paying one bill faster. This same AI-driven approach scales up to completely revolutionize one of the most stressful times for any finance team. You guessed it, the end-of-month close.
Just like stop keying invoices, this quote gets right to the heart of the pain of the financial close. That endless cycle of finding, explaining, and fixing little variances, that's what causes all those late nights and pizza boxes at the end of every single month. The AI ledger agent is designed to make that a thing of the past.
So, how does it do that? Well, it's not just a fancy dashboard. These agents actually take action. They don't just find a problem, they draft the journal entry to fix it. This proactive approach makes a continuous close possible, where little adjustments happen every day, which gets rid of that end-of-month panic. And it's all possible because the AI is truly built in, not just some fragile solution that's bolted on top.
And all of this brings us to what I think is the most important transformation of all, the changing role of the finance professional. Because when you automate the grind, you elevate the work.
A 96% potential reduction in manual effort. Just let that number sink in for a second.
This isn't about replacing people. It's about giving them back 96% of their time to focus on what humans are amazing at: analysis, strategy, and making those really critical business decisions.
And that's the whole point, right? This is the new era of human plus AI. It's not about man versus machine. It's about taking human expertise and amplifying it with intelligent automation. This combination turns the finance department from a back-office cost center into a strategic powerhouse for the whole company.
So that leaves us with one final, and I think really important question. As these AI agents take over the routine stuff, the challenge for every business leader isn't if you'll automate, but what you will do with all of the human potential you unlock. What new value can your team create? What becomes their new strategic focus? Answering that, well, that's the key to navigating the incredible future we're all heading into.